Welcome to the PwC Business Success Podcast. With us today is Vincent the Jager, a partner in the deals team in PwC and specifically in DDV, which stands for Delivering Deal Value. Welcome, Vince.
Thank you for having me, Francis. I look forward to a really interesting conversation on a very relevant topic.
So we're speaking about capacity planning today. Capacity planning is a fundamental aspect of creating business success. On the one hand, you can match your demand with supply if your capacity planning has been done well and done intentionally. And secondly, you can optimize, you have space to optimize your business processes. On the converse, if you are not over capacity, it helps you to contain your costs and even lower your costs. And ultimately, it's about satisfying your customers. Do you want to help us understand a bit more about capacity planning?
Yeah, Francis, I guess, by its definition, capacity is sort of the maximum rate of output that you can get from a business process, right? Simplistically, the way that I think about this is it is the maximum that I can get out of my people, out of my management team, out of my facilities, out of the plants that I run. So in short, that's the simplistic way that I think about that.
Yeah, and it will be a different measurement in each industry. In a hotel, it would be beds, for instance, and manufacturing, it would be units produced and so forth.
Absolutely.
The ultimate goal is to match your supply and demand. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, Francis. I guess knowing what capacity is and how to calculate is one aspect of it, right? The trick comes in, I guess, when you need to balance supply and demand within that capacity. Now, measuring and managing utilization, I guess, is where the real trick comes in, because if you're overutilized, that could lead in the long run to wastage and diseconomies of scale. Or on the other hand, if you are underutilizing the resources that you have, that could again lead to missed opportunities in the market.
So we both work in the deals practice. How does that come to play in a deals scenario?
Yeah, Francis, you kindly introduced sort of what it is that I looked after, or what I look after in the deals team a bit earlier. But essentially, what we're focused on is supporting clients with the implementation of M&A transactions. Now, capacity planning and capacity is a key feature and a key consideration in almost anything that we look at in the deal space. If I could use maybe one or two examples, specifically when we help businesses that acquires, targets or business units that are being carved out of a broader organization. Very often what you'll find is that these business units, because they're not, the entire thing, they get supported by shared services from the broader group. Now, as soon as you unplug that, or these shared services aren't coming part of the transaction, you find that there's operating model gaps on the effective date. So one of the key things that we look at and assess then is the ability and the capacity, as well as capabilities of the business acquiring this the business division or this business unit, and their ability to start replacing some of these services on day one. The other way, and I think, given that we both work in deals, we both know that value creation is a key reason why the guys look to do deals. And very often synergies features in that, and it's then about, if you look at the forecast growth of this business, does the capacity of the combined business support that growth? Or would I need to incur some CapEx in order to, develop that capacity in order to support the forecast?
Yeah, but you also need a capacity cushion.
Absolutely. The way that I look at capacity cushions is it's essentially a safety net, right? So you can calculate that as being the difference between 100% of the capacity that you have and then the average utilization percentage within your business. Now, again, the challenge comes in when you start running things at 100 or 100+%, right? Things have a tendency to then break over time because nothing, not your plants, not your machinery, not your assets, nor your people, nor your management team. Heck, Francis, I guess, as brilliant as you are, not even you can run it 100% of the time, all the time, right? And in the long run, again, you start seeing more and increased unplanned maintenance, shutdowns, and it manifests in your workforce in the form of increased sick leave, and burnout, ultimately of your people.
But also, you can't really do your capacity planning if you don't know your demand. So you need to start with demand forecasting.
Yeah, it's a critical aspect, Francis, and I guess it links back to the point that we discussed a bit earlier around the capacity having to support that future growth. Now, then you need to have a real clear understanding of what that forecast or that forecast demand looks like, right? And there's a number of tools that supports sort of the calculation of those forecast and demands.
So, Vince, you help a lot of companies. What type of tools are in the market, or what tips can you give the viewers about how to do it?
Yeah, Francis, for me, it comes. You mentioned the point earlier around, different industries have different drivers and therefore have different capacities and different constraints on those capacities, right? Now, there's a number of tools that help management teams sort of more accurately, I guess, calculate or forecast what that demand could look like. And ultimately, all of these tools have there's equations that calculate the same thing, but ultimately, what all of them comes down to is providing more accurate, what's the word? Accurate data points to help better predict what the future demand looks like. And then you can develop strategies around that forecast demand and play that back into your capacity planning.
And then also keep your eye on the macro environment and things that are coming your way.
Absolutely, and that's what these tools aim to achieve. It is about accurate forecast demand. It is about analyzing trends in the market and understanding those trends and how they play into the capacity planning that you're doing, and also the forecast revenue and those good things that you're trying to determine.
So, in summary, businesses have to do capacity planning. They have to do it intentionally. They have to match their demand with supply, not be overstocked or understocked. And if that is the case, if they do that effectively, and sometimes if we help them do it, then they can optimize the business. They can be ready for change and take a hold of any opportunities that are coming their way.
Yeah, Francis, exactly right. I think it should be the primary focus of all management teams, right? It is such a critical aspect of business and managing your operating model with your business model, right, in order to deliver that growth that you're looking for. I guess if you apply and embed these principles within your operations, right, that leads to adaptability. It leads to better efficiencies. It leads to better running your machines, them lasting longer, etc. And in the long run, it ultimately all builds up to sustain future growth and success.
Vince, thank you so much for sharing your incredible insights with us. And watch out for the next PwC podcast, which will be on strategic acquiring of companies.